guys, welcome to another video. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you're new to my channel, my name is Ani. In today's video we are going to look at my August wrap-up. So here are a list of books I read last month. Let's take a look. The first book I have here that I read last month is It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover, and if you watch my videos you know I've been wanting to read this book for a while and I recently hauled it, and of course it is very hyped on BookTube, so here it is. So if you didn't know already, this book is about Lily, a young woman who just graduated from college and then she moves to Boston, opens her own floral shop, and she ends up meeting a guy and falls in love, of course. But the guy is very reluctant to have a relationship with her. So of course we're following Lily and her emotional torment, and of course this book has to do with mental and physical well-being of a person. Other than being very hyped, I also wanted to read this book because it was making people bawl their eyes out. And if you remember watching my previous video that I said I don't cry from reading a book. Movies make me cry, but not books. But this book, let me tell you, I was so touched by it that I actually almost cried. It made my eyes burn, okay? I did not bawl my eyes out, but I was close to having a drop of tear, for real. I'm one of those people that can control like my emotions, or I like, especially if it's like, you know, out in public, I can, you know, not cry. And a lot of the times, it's gonna sound really bad, but a lot of the times I don't even cry at funerals. I will cry later, like, you know, at my own space, I guess, but not, you know, in front of people, if that makes sense. But it's not because I'm trying to be tough or whatever, I just don't. So it's like, I don't know, it's like me being in control of myself kind of thing. Anyway, so yes, it almost made me cry. Like my eyes were burning. I was so touched. It just, you know, the ending of the book, it was enough for me to say, yes, I can understand now why people are bawling their eyes out. So this was so good. 5 out of 5 stars. I will definitely be reading this author's other books for sure. The next book on my list that I read last month is The Last Thing He Told Me by Laura Dave. This is another book that's very popular on BookTube. So this book is about a woman who is recently married and she thinks she found the love of her life. A year into the marriage, her husband disappears, leaving her with only a note that says, "Protect her." So she has to find out what this note means and where did her husband go. Considering this is Reese's book club pick and it was Goodreads Choice Awards for thriller, I did not feel as thrilled while I was reading it. It was just not thriller material for me. Yes, it was mystery. There were like questions that were being answered. There were things happening, but it was definitely not thriller that I'm used to, at least. So I did not, you know, I liked it. You know, I gave it 3 stars, but I thought I was going to love it, but I didn't. The ending was good. I really liked that though. So that's probably why it, you know, I gave that 1 extra star. But other than that, I don't think this is, to me, it was not 5 stars or even 4 stars worthy book. Yeah. Then I read I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson, and this book has been out for a while, so it took me a while to read it. So this book is about Noah and Jude, twins. They are inseparable when they were little, but something happens and then they stop talking to each other for years. So it is a coming of age story, and it's about, you know, both of them struggling to find themselves, their identities. This book, I did not like it at all. This was just too much, like too many artsy metaphors. I was getting bored. I did not like it. I love art, but a whole book dedicated to it, I don't think I have the mindset for that. So it was just not my cup of tea for sure. I just kept reading because I thought it would get better. Like, as some books, nothing happens for the first 100 page or nothing happens until the last 100 page. So I was just, it was brutal, guys. I read the entire book and yes, I gave it 1 star because I didn't enjoy it. And I also read The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. It's been on my TBR for last month and I almost thought I was not going to make it. I had to switch between audiobook and this because another book, I thought I was going to really like love it because this has been on my anticipated TBR list for this entire year pretty much. So I've been wanting to read this for a while, and there's a lot of hype on Goodreads on this. So yeah, it did not do it for me. So this book is about two sisters. They're twins and they're light-skinned black girls. When they're teenagers, they run away from their home, and one of them actually, marries a black man, has a daughter. She moves back to her hometown, and the other sister does not move back or stay in contact with her sister or family, and actually passes as a white woman and, basically live her life as a white woman. Even her husband and her family have no idea about her past. This book I wanted to love so much. The moral of the story was just good. I don't know. I think one of the problem that I had was the book was going back and forth a lot, talking about their past. So that was one of the things I kind of like struggled with a little bit. And then I think I also didn't like the character, the sister who tried passing as a white woman. I don't think I really appreciated her character that much. I think that's probably why I didn't feel as connected with this book. The history parts of this book was good. I really enjoyed that part, as I love history, and including it in fiction is always interesting to me. So unfortunately, I gave this book 2.5 stars. It's kind of like 50-50 for me. I liked so many things, and then I didn't like, some of the other characters. I'd probably just go ahead and check out author's other books because I do want to read books, by this author. Just this book didn't do it for me, so yeah. And the next book is Stardust by Neil Gaiman. If you watch my channel, you know this is my first book by this author, and I really, really liked it. This is about Tristan, who is in love with Victoria and would do anything for her, including fetch the star that has fallen on the other side of the wall. Of course, no one goes there, and there are bad people also trying to get that star for their own reasons. This was just so beautiful, and like people say his writing is beautiful. I truly agree. I only read one book, so I am still yet to read his other books, but I was just so consumed by this book. It was just really, really good. I gave it 4.5 stars. I'll definitely be picking up his other books, as I already have the other ones that I want to read really bad. Then I also read Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky. This is my first book by this author, and I love sci-fi, so another reason I wanted to pick this up. This book is about humans' survival on a terraformed planet, and of course humans are the invaders. First of all, if you have arachnophobia, do not read this book. I'm telling you, be warned. But this, I felt, was for a sci-fi. It was a slow burner for real. It took such a long time for anything to happen, and all I kept feeling like these people talk a lot. Like, come on, like, do something, make something happen. I like my sci-fi to be fast-paced, and this was not. Just didn't connect with this story as much as I really wanted to, considering like how long I've had it on my bookshelf. I was like, I'm finally gonna read this. Yeah, it just didn't happen. I am like so bummed because I really wanted to read this series, but I don't think it's going to happen. This is it. But I do want to check out authors' other books. That way, sometimes, some writers just have a bad book or bad series or whatever. So I definitely will be checking out his other books, just not this series. So I only give 2 stars, unfortunately. Okay, then I read Artemis by Andy Weir. The book is about a smuggler named Jazz, short for Jasmine, who gets caught up in a conspiracy to take over the city, the only city on the moon. First of all, I love Andy Weir's writing. I absolutely love The Martian. And this book I was even more interested in reading because the main character is female. Nothing I like more than a sci-fi with a female character. However, I felt like this book did not do justice. I loved the character. I loved Jasmine, her personality, but there were not enough actions for being a sci-fi. I feel like I am already expecting a lot of things to happen, right? It's a sci-fi. I felt like she was not given the action that she deserved because the background she came from in the story, I think she was capable of a lot more. So there could have been, if it was a dude, I bet anything he would be doing all kinds of crazy stuff. I don't know if it's because the city was on the moon, so maybe the space is limited. The possibilities are limited. I don't know, maybe that's what it was, but I was expecting more, even if it was, the main character is a female. I was still expecting more from the main character, but it didn't happen. So I was disappointed. As I hear many other people, say that this is their least favorite book by the author. So I don't know if that has something to do with it or, yeah. There are some other things I kind of want to say, but I feel like if I do, and if you haven't read the book, I would probably just give it away, spoil it for you. So I'm just going to, give you my opinion on why I didn't like this book. As vaguely as possible, I suppose. But, I still will be continue to read his other books, as, like I said, I love his writing, and, one book that's a bad book is not going to stop me from it. And then we're moving on to classics, and of course, I read East of Eden by John Steinbeck, a very popular must-read kind of classic book. I finally did, and it was big. I had to switch between audiobook and physical because there ain't no way I was going to finish this by this month for sure when I have all these other books to read. This book is about intertwined destinies of two families, reenact the fall of Adam and Eve, and of course, rivalry of Cain and Abel, the brothers. While reading this book, I had so many mixed emotions. It was just crazy. Well, this was written in 1952, and the research that was put into it, I thought was amazing. Classics, it's all about perspective, or at least for me. And this book literally made the hamster in the wheel in my head turn. It was just good. A lot of slow parts to this book, and of course, it being a classic, that's a given, and I think, it really helped a lot with the switching between audio and physical book, but I gave it 4 stars because I really enjoyed this book. And of course, then I got People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. This is my 3rd book by this author, and I could not wait to read this since I recently hauled it. I felt like this was such a perfect story, especially we're coming to an end of summer. So this was just perfect. If you didn't know already, this is about 2 best friends, Poppy and Alex. They're best friends since college. They go on vacation every summer, and one summer something happens and they stop talking to each other for 2 years. So then Poppy tries to fix it by going on one last summer vacation together. And of course, we're kind of finding out what happened that one summer, why they stopped talking, and what is she going to do, etc. You know how much I hate love triangle, and when I read the blurb, I was thinking that going into this book, I know I'm going to run into that and I was going to hate this book. I did not hate this book at all. I absolutely loved it. The characters were just so adorable. I loved every second of it. I gave it, of course, 5 out of 5 stars. I'm so glad I picked this book up. I definitely recommend this book. And then I finished one of my pile of shame book, and it is the Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets by J.K. Rowling. I'm sure everyone knows about Harry Potter, so I'm not going to get into too much about it other than that it's about a young boy who's a wizard and goes to a school of magic to learn, magic and defeat the evil and whatnot. Yeah, I finished this book finally. One of my pile of shame books that's going to be checked off. Of course, I love this book as many others do, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. The next book is supposed to be on my September TBR, but I had to borrow it from the library, of course, and it was available sooner than expected, and the only form of it was an audiobook, so it is The Daughter of Dr. Moreau by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. This story follows the daughter of a researcher who people think is either a genius or a mad scientist, who is actually trying to mess with evolution and creating some sort of hybrid. This book reminded me of Frankenstein a little bit, and it was about around the same time era. However, at the end of the book, it was explained that the daughter of Dr. Moreau was actually inspired by H.G. Wells' book, The Island of Dr. Moreau. So this is my first book by Silvia Moreno Garcia. I have Mexican Gothic that I recently hauled, but I have not read it yet because this book, Daughter of Dr. Moreau, was available, so I just snatched it and started listening to it. But this book, The Daughter of Dr. Moreau, did not wow me as much as I thought it would, considering it is a historical science fiction type of book, and this is my first book by this author, so I guess in a way I was expecting more. I don't know if it has to do with because I listened to an audiobook, but usually audiobooks are very engaging and I usually like them, so I thought it would be a good one, and especially the people who read the book, they were like in the character and they like even had the accent right. It was just superb. However, the book still did not seem interesting, at least the first 50% of it. The last 50% I was really interested and I really, enjoyed that part of the book. Unfortunately, I only gave 2.5 stars for this book, but I do plan on reading her other books. As I mentioned, I already have Mexican Gothic, and if I like that, I'll probably check out, her other books too. Well guys, this is all for today's video. These are the books I read last month, the month of August. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave me in the comments down below if you read any of these books recently or last month or whenever, and what were your thoughts. Make sure to give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to hit that bell icon so you are notified the next time I upload a new video. Until next time, take care.